In the spring of 1966, a football club won a National League title. Tens of thousands of fans celebrated. Local newspapers ran the headline. The trophy was handed over. There was just one small problem. The club didn't legally exist, and the federation that gave them the trophy knew it. To understand how Ghost Club ended up on top of a league table, we need to go back to one of the most chaotic periods in Eastern European football administration. The kind of chaos that doesn't come from corruption. Well, not entirely, but from something almost more embarrassing. In the post-war reorganization of football federations across the Soviet bloc, dozens of clubs were reformed, renamed, merged, dissolved, and rebuilt, sometimes within the same calendar year. Factories sponsored clubs. Army units sponsored clubs. Local municipalities sponsored clubs. And keeping track of which legal entity corresponded to which team on the pitch was, let's say, not always the top priority. It was the footballing equivalent of everyone at a house party putting their keys in a bowl. Except nobody is entirely sure whose bowl it is, or whose house, or whether the house is even structurally sound. The club at the center of this particular administrative catastrophe was Spartak Varna, a Bulgarian side playing in the APFG, Bulgaria's top flight, during the 1965-66 season. Now, just to be absolutely clear, Spartak Varna was a real football club. Real players, real matches, real goals. Their striker Georgi Asparuhov was one of the most exciting forwards in Eastern Europe at the time. A man who could score from angles that should be physically impossible and had a hairstyle that suggested he knew it. They were very much a functioning football team. What they were not, as it turned out, was a legally registered sporting entity under Bulgarian Federation law. Here's what had happened. In 1964, Spartak Varna had undergone a reorganization. Their parent organization, the state factory that sponsored them, had changed its official name and legal status as part of a broader industrial restructuring program under the Bulgarian communist government. Standard stuff for the era. Happens all the time. Except that in the process of updating the factory's paperwork, nobody had thought to re-register the football club under the new legal entity. Nobody. Not the club secretary. Not the federation. Not the factory's legal department. Nobody. The club just kept playing. Kept winning. Kept scoring. Kept climbing the table. And the Bulgarian Football Federation, who were responsible for checking these things, didn't notice either. By the spring of 1966, Spartak Varna were on the verge of something historic. With 3 games left in the season, they sat top of the APFG, on the cusp of what would have been a remarkable league title. The first in the club's history. They won their final 3 games. They were champions. The trophy ceremony was organized. The players were photographed. The headlines were printed. Georgi Asparuhov looked appropriately magnificent throughout all of it. And then someone filed the paperwork. It's always the paperwork. A federation official. Accounts differ on whether this was a deliberate act of sabotage, bureaucratic due diligence, or simply a clerk having a very bad day. Cross-referenced Spartak Varna's registration documents against the updated legal entity list, and found nothing. No registration. No legal continuity. No club. On paper. For the entirety of the 1965-66 season, Spartak Varna had not existed, which raised a question that no football federation had ever had to answer before. What do you do with a league title won by a team that wasn't legally there to win it? The Bulgarian Federation had 3 options. Option 1. Retroactively validate the registration, close the paperwork gap, quietly move on, and never speak of this again. The communist government's preferred solution to most problems. Option 2. Strip the title and award it to the second-place team, which would have been deeply unpopular, legally complicated, and would have required admitting that the Federation hadn't checked the registrations all season. Also embarrassing. Option 3. Declare the title null and void entirely, and just not have a champion for 1966. They went with option 1. The re-registration was backdated. Documents were filed, stamped, and officially recorded as having existed before the season started. The trophy stayed. The photograph stayed. The headline stayed. And in the official records of Bulgarian football, Spartak Varna are listed as the 1966 league champions, representing a legal entity that had technically not existed when they won it. The whole thing was papered over so effectively that it took decades for the full story to emerge, pieced together by Bulgarian football historians going through Federation archives in the 1990s. The strange postscript to all of this is what happened next. Georgi Asparuhov, the star of that Spartak Varna side, went on to become the greatest Bulgarian footballer of his generation. He was the linchpin of the Bulgarian national team throughout the late 1960s and was widely considered one of the best strikers in Europe. He died in a car accident in 1971 at the age of 28. Bulgaria retired his number, built a stadium in his name. To this day, he is considered a national hero, and the title he won in 1966, with a club that technically didn't exist, remains on his record. A genuine achievement, wrapped in the kind of absurd administrative chaos that only a mid-century communist bureaucracy could produce. There's a version of this story where Spartak Varna are villains, where the backdating of documents is proof of a corrupt system protecting its own. And there's another version where the whole thing is just deeply, profoundly human. A club full of real people, playing real football, winning a real title, whose only crime was that the person responsible for filling in their forms forgot to update an address. Football, as it turns out, does not care about paperwork. The Federation eventually agreed. Spartak Varna were later reorganized multiple times, eventually becoming PFC Cherno More Varna, the club that exists in that city today. The 1966 title is still counted, still celebrated, still real, at least according to the records, which is, honestly, the most Bulgarian solution to a Bulgarian problem imaginable. Sometimes it's about so much more than just 90 minutes on the field. The true championship of a team dismissed on paper, one that brought the stands to their feet, proves once again that the spirit of the game cannot be captured on paper. Spartak Varna's Ghost Championship may have been forgotten on the dusty shelves of history, but it still stands as one of the most fascinating chapters in soccer's chaotic yet romantic past. What do you think the federations would decide if this happened today? Let's discuss in the comments. If you love these kinds of "you've got to be kidding me" soccer stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to discover many more legends that have remained behind the scenes. See you in the next video, in another mysterious corner of history. Goodbye.